Good morning. Happy Monday, guys. It's Jessica with Stay Cozy Creative Co. and I'm coming to you live today from up in the studio. So I thought that I'd bring you guys along for a few of the things that I'm working on today because it's one of the first full days in a long time that I've been able to be up here and just get some focus work done. So on Mondays, I like to prioritize getting orders that have come in over the weekend out and packed. And so that's what I'm working on over here with this yarn. So let me show you that real quick and how I pack that up. So on Friday, I sent out an email to my email list with a 25% off discount just for the weekend for anything on my website. And so this is actually part of one order. I have a couple more skeins to get, but it's a combination of our cotton tube yarn, which is right here. This is some velvet tube yarn, and then this is chenille yarn, which I've been working on rolling with my Stay Cozy tag here, and then it has like care instructions on the back and reorder information and yarn info. And so I wrap all of those myself. These ones I've transitioned to just doing stickers. So you can see the cotton tube yarn and then the velvet are very similar, just like have their own information. So they come packaged like this when I receive them, and so I decided just to keep them in plastic so that they don't get ruined during shipment. So last Friday, I actually got a new shipment of yarn that I had ordered several months ago. It usually takes a while for me to get my yarn because I get it from overseas and they don't start making it until I order the colors that I need and the styles that I need. And so that just arrived on Friday, and thankfully I was really nervous with the tariffs because they had gone up so much and there was just so much uncertainty, and so I wasn't sure with me ordering beforehand and then they were coming in what it was going to look like. But thankfully there was an extra charge, but my supplier covered it for me this time, which was really helpful and put me at ease. So I'm not sure how that's going to impact future orders yet. I honestly haven't placed any more yet because of just the up and downs of those prices and the taxes, and so I'm kind of playing that by ear. But these are the boxes. I have 14 boxes. Actually I should count 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 second. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I'm missing a few, which sometimes that happens. So hopefully I'll get the rest today. Sorry about the mess of boxes in the background from past orders. So I know for the order that I was just packing up right over there, I need a couple of my flamingo pink velvet tube yarn, and I realized that I was out. I have this one that I used for a custom unicorn recently, and that was the only one I had left. But thankfully, I'm pretty sure in this box right here, that's marked number 7. That's my number 7 color. It should be in there. So I'm gonna get that opened up and see if I can find a couple skeins. Hold that in. There it goes. I don't lose it all. So this is the flamingo pink velvet tube yarn. So I realized when I got back over here to check the order that I only need one of the flamingo velvets. So I'll do that one. And here's my sticker roll that I use. And it's super simple. Just peel that off, roll it over, and stick it on. Easy peasy. And then I also need 10 more skeins of chenille yarn. So we're gonna walk over here. Don't mind the mess and the more mess. Here is all my chenille yarn. Over here comes packaged in these big plastic things. So this color is called lime. Don't mind that either. I need 10 skeins of this lime color. So I'm gonna collect what I can from these open skeins, and then I'll have to open up another package. Okay, running out of hand room. Okay, first step to opening up new chenille yarn is always finding where I left my opener. So I got that, and now I'm gonna find more of the line. And then I'll go put this extra one back on the shelf. So I just have this whole stack of these, lay them here, put it in the center, grab a little piece of tape, and just wrap this around. Okay, I'm finally done labeling all the yarn, and so before I start packing it up, the last thing I do is make sure to count how many skeins there are, just to make sure I haven't missed a color or a number of skeins. So there should be 31 in this order, so I'm going to make sure that I have that. 31 skeins. And I usually snap a picture of yarn orders for my social stories, and so I'm going to do that right now. And now that I have the yarn all ready to go and know I have the right amount, it's time to get my boxes. So I just like have a stack, let's see, back here in the corner. And so 31 skeins. I usually know, like with smaller amounts of yarn, like what size box to use. But with this big of an order, I feel like I don't know for sure. So I'll probably need my biggest box, which is a 20 by 20. So I'll probably start with that, and then if I can go down one, I will. Obviously, you always want to use the smallest box possible, but I have this 20 by 20 here, and let me put that down, which is giant, and then I just put these boxes together. Like I mentioned with the plastic, I do like to reuse items as often as possible, but I found with my yarn that it's just so much easier and kind of necessary to have different sizes of boxes on hand to be able to ship when I need them. Like early on in my business, I would use boxes from Amazon. Sorry, I need to count this for a second so I know how many or how long to do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I kind of, what I'm counting is how many logos are on here, which is kind of like helps me estimate how long the piece of tape needs to be so that it fits on the box. So this is another one of those branding things. Sorry, I was mid-story. I used to use Amazon boxes, and now I just get my own because it works a lot better. So let me show you. This is part of my branding that I got done, where it says stay cozy, and then it's like a reminder to reuse and recycle. So reuse this box by building a toy car garage, reuse this box by mailing a gift to a friend, reuse this box by making a bird feeder, reuse this box by adding to your compost pile. So you get the point. Reuse or recycle that box, especially these big ones if you have kids. Perfect to play in. And then just like in the last like several months, I finally invested, I mean, they're only like $20 or $25, one of these tape dispensers here, because I have the water activated tape, which is also more eco-friendly because it doesn't have like that sticky adhesive. It gets adhesive because of the water. So I used to, and sometimes still do, use this like hairspray bottle to wet the back of it. But just like the busier I get, I found that it was easier to be able to use this like little manual machine thing. So got that off of Amazon. But now I'm going to just take this box and go get all my yarn packed up in it. I'm going to pack all of the tube yarn on the bottom since it is heavier, even though this box will probably be adjusted around plenty. This is me twisting my phone holder onto a different tripod. So sorry if that made you dizzy, but I only have one phone holder for 2 different tripods. I know I should just invest in getting another one, but usually it's not a big deal to move it. So I'm gonna put this right over here, and I'll show you. actually write my thank you notes sitting here at my desk. I have a whole stack of them here. Another thing that I got from my branding, which has a QR code for 10% off on your next order, and a nice little spot for a customized note, because I always include one of those with my orders. So I have a little sheet printed off. Shana, S-H-A-N-A. If you're watching this, let me know how to pronounce your name. But thank you so much for your yarn order, getting that out today. And so I have to use a part of my brain to write this for a second. Hi, Shana. Thank you so much. Enjoy all your beautiful yarn. So I'll include that. With new customers, I always include a sticker. I don't always include it with every single order, but since this one's so big, I will include another sticker. So I'll hook that here to the top and then put that in the box. So we were just right here at my desk, and then over here is kind of like my little station for a bunch of things. But I'm going to grab a paper clip, and then I'm going to include one of my Stay Cozy, Stay Creative, Stay Kind stickers. And so I'm just gonna attach that here to the top corner. And then back to our box over here to set this on top. And then now I'll have to carry this big box or drag it back over there. I know this feels very inefficient now, but this is what I do. Back over there to where my tape is to get it closed up. Then I'm going to close this up the same way I closed up the other end with some of my branded tape. So I use this very sophisticated method of putting my foot up here to hold it in place so that it stays closed while I get this pulled out. So this one is about 10 logos long. Set that across there. And this tape is very sturdy, where I just need one piece. If well, you see the end is kind of unsticky, so that's like where I'll use some extra water to get it to stay. But if I had like a lot more yarn where it's like bulging, then I do add some extra regular tape, but I don't need to for this one. So then I turn on my scale, weigh it, so we have 23.7 pounds. And now I need to enter that into my system so I can get an accurate shipping label. This order is in a 20 by 20 by 20 box, weighs 23.7 pounds, which includes 31 skeins of yarn, and it's going to Louisiana. So often for bigger boxes like this, UPS ground is the cheapest option. For smaller boxes, anything under like a 12 by 12 by 12 box, I find that USPS is often cheaper. It kind of depends. Sometimes FedEx will surprise me and be the cheapest option, but today I am correct and the UPS ground is the cheapest. So $41.37. Let me double check. So shipping's one of those things in my business that it's always kind of like a guessing game. It's always shifting a little bit, and after shipping yarn for years, I've gotten kind of like a good sense of how much it'll be. So I have it set up like when you buy yarn on my website, where it automatically calculates like what the shipping cost will be. Sometimes it's dead on, sometimes it's too much, sometimes it's not enough. So today the customer paid $34.95, and I'm going to pay $41.37. So that's just a loss that I have to take into account, but that's how it's gonna get there. So I don't think I could have packed my yarn into a smaller box. I feel like once I go down to an 18 by 18 by 18, that just takes away quite a bit of space, and it would have been too squished for my liking. So I'm content with this. I feel like with that amount of yarn, $5 off really isn't that much. Obviously you don't want to have to overpay for shipping, but when it happens, if it's a little bit like that, it's okay for this big of an order. A few years ago, I invested in one of the Rollo label printers, and I'm so glad that I did, because I used to print out every label and cut it by hand and tape it on. And it was one of those things, like when I was doing it, I was like, this doesn't take that much time. It's not a big deal. And then as I got more and more orders, I realized, I was like, man, this does take a lot of time, and it just like stops me. And so now, where I can just go straight from printing it to the label, peel it off and stick it on the package, it's totally worth it. So I actually bought mine from a friend who's another small business owner, and she was gonna get their wireless version, which would be really nice, but honestly, I have the wired one, and it's right next to my computer, and this is where I work 99.9% of the time, and so it works totally fine for what I need it for. So I'm going to print it here. I'll show you how it comes out of the printer. So there we go. Covered up that label a little bit for customer privacy, but this box of 31 skeins is all ready to go. All right, so I have 2 more orders to pack up that are smaller. So one is going to Rhode Island for 1 skein of cotton tube yarn, and then one is actually a local order here going to Cedar Rapids for 6 skeins of our blush chenille yarn. So I'm gonna get those packed up. All the orders are ready to go for today, and as I had guessed, the smaller ones are USPS because they're cheaper to send that way. But what's kind of crazy with shipping too is that this local one that has 6 skeins of yarn was less than $8 to ship, and then this one that has 1 skein of yarn going to Rhode Island was over $10 to ship. So it really just makes such a difference depending on where it's going. So like the weight and the size obviously makes a difference, but the location matters too. The coast, since I'm right in the middle in Iowa, maybe that's a good thing, because then it's like only halfway like to each coast, but it's definitely a significant increase when it goes to one of the coastal states when I ship there. So done with shipping for today. I'll drop these off later in the day when I go pick my kids up for after school and activities and stuff. So now on to the next part of my day, which is the harder decision, because I have to decide what I'm going to work on. And my options are either this giant project. I undid a king size blanket a couple weeks ago now, and then have this really big pillow. And I have an idea of what I'm going to make it into. Or what I think I might finish today is this floral granny square pattern that I got. This is a flower. This is like the, what's it called? The thing in the middle, the stomata of the flower. And then these are the petals. And then I just have like the square part to finish, and I'll link the pattern information there. Here, actually, I have it right here. So it's the Hollyhock Granny Square by madebylisek. This is the one I'm doing. So the original pattern is like for a smaller traditional size granny square, but I'm making it with my jumbo yarn. So I think I'm gonna work on that because I wanna get that done, and then I'll put my energy into the other project. I just realized that if I was showing you kind of a day of me working, that maybe I should have shown you like when I took a break for lunch or something like that. What I like to do, I usually eat a bigger breakfast, and then I usually like snack during the day, because I find that if I take like a big break for lunch and eat like a big lunch, my body just gets like so tired. And so I ate some cheese rounds, like those like Baby Bell ones. Those are like my go-to things. And then I've been munching on this chocolate caramel, it's like a bar thing. It's so good. It has like granola and chocolate chips and then caramel in the center. And I had an apple, and I had already finished my 2 cups of coffee this morning. So usually I just then like stick with water with all my stickers on it. I do like poppies also. I'm not a big pop person, but I like the poppies, which is like that, the probiotic, like poppy, or what's it called? Probiotic, kind of like soda-y drinks. Those are really good, but I don't have any of those anymore. So yeah, yes, I do eat throughout the day. Yes, I do take breaks. My studio does not have a bathroom, so whenever I have to use the bathroom, I have to walk up to my house, which isn't far. Today it was raining on and off, so I kind of have to like plan my exits in between the rain spouts. But yeah, anyway, back to work. All right, so I just got done with this giant floral granny square, and it's so cool. I'm obsessed with it. It's so cozy. I ended up using probably 6 skeins of yarn. I think I needed 7 to have like enough of each of the colors, but I have some left over. And then the yellow in the middle, obviously that's small, so that's not, didn't use very much of it. But it's so cozy, and Anna, or Made by Lizek, the designer, did such a good job. And I feel like this is even like a perfect lap blanket, or you could like add to it to make it bigger. But I'll make some content to share more about the specific project, but it's almost 2, and I have a daughter to pick up in a little bit. So I'm probably going to wrap up and then take my boxes for the day with me. And when I take her to one of her lessons, stop at the post office and UPS to get those shipped off. So thanks for sharing kind of a Monday day in the life with me today. I hope you found at least some parts interesting. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop those in the comments. I'm happy to answer almost anything about hand knitting, hand crochet, about running a small business, about yarn, about motherhood with business. I don't know. Whatever questions you have, great. I'm happy to answer them. I hope you have a great day, and thanks so much for watching. Again, I'm Jessica with Stay Cozy Creative Co. And until next time, stay cozy, creative, and kind.